In this video, we will cover the installation and use of Network Time Protocol, or NTP, on Power PMAC. If Power PMAC is connected to the internet, it can track time of day through NTP. This can be useful for data logging, astronomy, or scheduled programs. This video will cover installation for firmware 2.4 or higher on an ARM CPU. This process can also be used to install Linux packages in general. We will divide this video into 5 sections: preparing, loading files with FTP, installing with Putty, example PMAC code, updating firmware, and finally some concluding remarks. We will be using the FileZilla FTP client to place some needed files on Power PMAC. If you do not already have FileZilla, it can be downloaded from filezillaproject.org. We will be completing the installation on Power PMAC using Putty. If you do not already have Putty, it can be downloaded from putty.org. This video includes some files. If the files aren't linked from the description, contact your local Omron representative for a copy. We will be adding an interfaces file from the network setting folder to the FTP files folder before copying the contents to Power PMAC. Pick the interfaces file based on your network configuration. Edit any incorrect IP addresses, as well as the netmask and gateway if needed. To copy files with FileZilla, we must first enter the information needed to connect to Power PMAC in these boxes near the top of the window. For host, enter the IP address. The default is 192.168.0.200, but it may be different for your system. For username, enter root, all lowercase. For password, enter delta tau, one word, all lowercase. For port, enter 22. Next, click the Quick Connect box. Once you are connected, in the remote site, navigate to var ftp gather and drag in the 5 files in the FTP files folder, including the edited interfaces file. When you open Putty, you will be greeted with a screen like this. If SSH is not already selected, click on it and make sure the port is 22. Enter your PMAX IP address in the hostname box. Finally, click the Open button to connect to Power PMAC. Our next task will be logging in. Enter the username root and the password delta tau, one word, all lowercase. To update the IP address, enter the commands on screen. This will set the correct locations as read-write, replace current settings, and set those locations back to read-only. On some systems, the mount commands containing VFAT will give an error message. This is not an issue. Mount the file system as read-write so that changes can be made. Next, we will actually install the 3 packages previously placed on Power PMAC. To install a package, type dpkg-i followed by the package to install. Once the package name is started, the tab button can be used to complete the name. Install libops, ntp, and then ntp date. We will now finish the installation. First, move in the correct DNS settings. To make sure Linux acquires the time before PMAC starts, we must add a line to Power PMAC startup script with an sed command. Take care to only enter this command one time. To make sure NTP is still installed after reboot, we must copy changes to etc and var to read-only folders and set the main section of flash memory to read-only. Now that all changes have been made, reboot so that they can take effect. Putty will disconnect. Once Putty airs out, click OK, and then right-click on the top bar and select Restart Session. Log in again and ping ntp.org to verify internet settings. In the script environment, the variable sys.timeofday will now be a number of seconds between 0 and 86,400, representing the time of day in Coordinated Universal Time, or UTC. This can be used in a PLC to view the time in hours, minutes, and seconds. This can also be used to start a program at a specified time. Alternatively, sys.timeofday can be used for including time in data gathering. In the C environment, We have three ways to access time in seconds since epoch. Get PMAC time of day is a double. Clock get time gives separate variables for seconds and nanoseconds. Time of null is an integer and requires time.h to be included. Only time of null gives continually updated network time. All other methods discussed in this video are based on the NTP acquired boot time and number of servo cycles elapsed since. After firmware updates, Power PMAC startup script may be replaced. If it is, we must re-add the startup command. To check if this is needed, enter the More command on screen and ensure the line starting with NTP date is returned. After firmware updates, Power PMAC startup script may be replaced. If it is, you will need to reissue the same SED command as before to update this file. Make sure that you enable read-write access first and that you change it back to read-only access after. After following a simple installation procedure, NTP makes the current time available to Power PMAC. Thank you for your attention. We hope that this video presentation was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your local Omron representative.